another
Right.
class. All right, so we are recording. This is the Dominate Docusign class, and I'm going to manage the participants and mute everyone so that we can start the class. Mute all. And then Rhonda, when I ask, then you can unmute yourself later, and we can monitor the questions, okay? Let's share the screen now. Share. And you should see my command screen. Is that correct? Okay. Awesome, Rhonda. I can see you. So the first thing that you should do when you are starting Docusign is remember, always go through your command opportunities first. Okay. So let me go over to Docusign. Can you guys see the screen that says Dominate Docusign? You can see that. All right, awesome. So if you haven't joined me for any of the classes, I've been a realtor for 18 years now. My gosh, it seems like yesterday. I've been with the company since 2004. That's a lot of years. I've been here through the growth of all of our technology. And I will tell you that Command System has been the best by far. It is a wonderful product. I've been an agent, an ALC member. I am a certified Market Center trainer. I'm a productivity coach and a tech driver for all of Adele's offices with 1,300 agents. And that's why I am here teaching you Dominate Docusign today. We are, I believe, 10 days until Docusign is our main source of our electronic transactions. So here are steps to Docusign. The first thing, activate your account through the command settings. Go to your command settings on the top right-hand side and use your @KW email address. That is important. It is your identity in Docusign. Follow all the steps to the process. One of the things that I constantly hear is that someone is not activated properly, and that's likely that the process wasn't completed with all the steps. You will need your command passwords, your @KW Gmail account password, and your Docusign password. Now, if you're with Adele DeMoro Group, we use Scott Lowry Marketing for our onboarding, and most of the time, if you've gone through that process, all of those email and passwords should be the same. Your NERDS number is required in your Docusign account if you are going to access any of the association documents. So make sure that you go to the preferences in Docusign and connect your NERDS number. And for those of us in New Jersey, you would choose New Jersey Association of Realtors. If you're joining us from Philly, I'm assuming that you have an association, a primary association over there. All right, 3 simple steps I like to say. We like to keep this simple, right, guys? So in command, you're going to create a contact, you're going to create an opportunity, and then you're going to go to the Documents tab and you're going to add the documents. So that's how you get started on the command side, okay? And, oops, this isn't populating accurately. There we go. In the Docusign room, once you get to the Docusign room, you're going to enter details. Now, please do me a favor and just give yourself pause before you jump on into all of those documents and start using them. So you want to switch over from adding documents, make sure you put the details in first. So pause before you jump into the document, okay? The next thing is creating an envelope, a little different than what we are used to in .loop. The create envelope is just like taking all the papers in the contracts, putting them in a manila envelope, addressing the envelope, and sending them off in the mail, or like we did in .loop, putting them all in the loop and emailing them out and emailing with a subject matter, okay? So either way, creating the envelope is just like sending an email with the documents attached to it, okay? And then preparing the document for signatures. There's the difference here between Docusign and .loop is that you're preparing the contract, then you go to prepare the envelope and tell the envelope who's in it and who needs to sign, And then you're going to review the document and look and see where the signatures are, make sure all the parts to the document are accurate, and make sure the signatures are on the right fields, and then you can send it out. Okay, so there's just a little difference there. All right, and that's we'll get to the Q&A. Rhonda just left the building. So Frank, I see you, Frank DiLorenzo. Is there, oh, there you are, Rhonda. Can you tell me if there's any questions in the chat box that we need to attend to before we go on to the live version? Oh, I need to hear you. Rhonda, put your mic on.
I actually started a question because I was downloading documents from a live transaction.
Okay, hold on. Hold on. Do we have any questions up to this point before we go to the live version? Just the steps to the process.
Oh, at this point, no.
Yeah. Okay. So we're just going to go step by step.
Okay, no problem. Sorry.
No worries. Okay, so let's go over to the live version. All right. And here's my dashboard. Can you see my command dashboard?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. Things are working. That's all good. The first step, like I said, create contact. Very simple. And if you can't see on the screen the right-hand side of command, all you need to do is move the pictures from Zoom just away from that area. There's a green or blue button, whichever you see. It says add contact. And all you need to do, if you do nothing else, and this is only to get the documents into your office for compliance, you just have to fill in the first and last name. That's it. And then you click the create button. Of course, using command on a higher level will help you run your business and certainly help connect those relationships better. If this is strictly what you're going to use to get our contracts to us, then just put the first and last name. Okay. I've got tons of contacts in here, so I'm going to show you what that looks like when we go to create opportunity. So first and last name, click create. All right. Once you do that, you hop on over to the opportunities applet. If you're not sure which applets are which, click the KW button. That KW button will open up the description of each applet so that you can see where your contacts are, your tasks, smart plans. And today we're going into opportunities so that we can get to our transaction. Okay. And now remember, an opportunity is just like a file folder. It's an opportunity to earn business. It's when you start taking a client out and you meet them for the first time at a buyer's consultation, or you're setting up an appointment for a listing. You're opening a file. You're opening an opportunity. Okay. An opportunity also is the same word, the synonyms of a loop. A lot of you were accustomed to seeing loops. Okay. I have to change my name on here. The loop is the same as an opportunity, and in Docusign, it's now called a room. So a room, a loop, and an opportunity all mean the same thing. Is that good? Okay. Now, in order to create an opportunity, we click the green button. And in most of my classes, you'll notice that I always tell you, if you're looking for what action to take on that screen, look for the green button. That's usually the next action that you need to take. So create opportunity. You're opening the folder. So now you're going to tell it, what opportunity do you have? So let's say you're making your care calls and all of a sudden somebody said, hey, listen, I wasn't planning on listing my property until next year, but I see that I have an opportunity. I have to sell my house. So you say, wow, that's an opportunity for you, right? Now you're opening a listing opportunity. And the top question is, which market center? I'm attached to several market centers. If that happens to be you as well, just make sure that you click the one that you're working with at the time and where your Keller Williams user ID is attached to. Okay. Which opportunity is it? Is it a listing type, a buyer type, a landlord, or a tenant? Okay. Our offices at the Demoro Group, we have created these packages that will be associated with the type that you choose. So those will speak to the placeholders that you see later on in the opportunity. All right, so let's just click listing. And now client. You have to have your contact or your client in your system before you put them in the opportunity. So I'm just going to pull up Greg. Okay, he's already been in my system, and we use him in our training quite often. And you notice that opportunity name came up here, and many of you who have been in my class, you notice that I have asked you many times to use the street address in the opportunity name, and we can continue to do that. The reason why I asked you to do that in the past was the sorting features and the searching features for the compliance coordinators were not really working well, so that if the check came in for a particular property address, they couldn't match it to the opportunity in the system. So we can add this street address in here just like that. If you would like to use custom tags, that is available. You can just click it. I need to put that in there for training so that I don't make my compliance group crazy. And the only other thing that's required is the commission rate. And remember, this is your side of the transaction. This is your listing side or your buying side when you're in the opportunity section. Okay? So before I click create, Rhonda, I'd like to ask if there were any questions in reference to creating a contact or creating an opportunity.
One question was, do you have all these steps to the process in a PDF document?
I do, and if you're in our Keller Williams Demoro group, we are posting everything in our family page, the KW family. And if you are in the Philly group, contact Joshua, and Joshua will be able to give that to you. I'm going to send him over the PDF version of it. Okay?
Okay. There's another question that says, I don't know if it's appropriate at this time. If we have a listing in .loop and it's going under contract soon, do we have to copy all listing docs that are already approved to KW command? I would imagine the answer is yes.
Yeah, so that's a great question, and it's good that we brought it up now. It would be good for you to put anything that's in flight. Okay, in flight means it's an active listing, it's in transaction, it's either a buyer or a seller that you're in the process. Now, talk to your compliance group at your market center, and if they've done part of the compliance on it, you would want to make sure that it comes over. If they've done all of the compliance and the green sheet is already done, then you might just go through that process with them for that particular transaction. So it's we'd like to have the in-flight deals into command. Just check and see what your timeline is. If everything's approved already, you may not need to. But if part of it is approved, get it all over to command, and then we'll work from there. Okay?
Okay.
All right, good. Was that it for the opportunity, creating the opportunity and creating contact?
No, I have a question. When you discuss commission rates, so it's not the total commission. Let's say you have a listing.
Yeah.
And it's 5%.
Mm-hmm.
I'm putting 2.5 there, or I'm putting 5.
2.5.
So it's only my side.
Only your side. Remember, command is designed for you to follow the relationship with your client, and the opportunity is just a portion of that relationship. Okay, so that's the timeline. So you have a big timeline with your relationship, but only a small timeline with the transaction. Okay, that's the I don't know if you guys all heard that. It was in my ear. I got a notification. Sorry. So it's just the timeline. Command is designed to follow your business your relationship with your client for the entire time. Okay, so opportunity is just a snippet of that time. Just create. Okay. Now, what you're looking at, you're looking at the details of the transaction. Okay, if you would like to click edit the details, you click the little pencil, and then you can edit the details if you need to. The one thing that I don't have a visual of is what it looks like with a team. So if you're on a team, your team will be setting up the process of who is opening up the opportunity and who is creating the contact. So talk to your team members or your rainmaker to find out what they would like to see in that. And then you'll have an owner. See, the owner's name is my name. I'm the owner of the opportunity. I'm the one that's getting paid. Okay. There's in the team version, the owner is the rainmaker, and then there's the assignee, which is the teammate, the party on the team. Okay. This is a Docusign class, so I need to get to the documents, and I want to make sure that you guys know how to get there. Okay. So document section is right here. We just need to switch to residential. That document section is the placeholder area where all of your compliant documents will be uploaded to, okay? Command is not the system that you can sign contracts. Command is just where all of the compliant documents will be posted. They'll be placed. It's like bringing the folder to the office, okay? Well, we need to get to the transaction, and our preferred electronic signature software is now Docusign. And the way that we get there is clicking Start a Transaction. And hopefully all of you can see that on your screen. It's on the right-hand side. And this time it's a black button. You will see on my screen that I have a drop down because I've previously attached Docusign and .loop to my system. And certainly today is a Docusign class. So here we go. Go to Docusign. And what this is going to do is it's connecting Docusign. It's saying, Command, I want you to talk to Docusign, and I want you to connect that and create a room in Docusign for this particular opportunity. Okay, so that's the connection. If you do it the other direction, if you go to Docusign first, it won't connect the opportunity. Okay, so we want to make sure that you connect Command to Docusign, not the other way around. All right, here's where it gets a little dicey, and this is where I get a lot of questions because it opens up to where you can add your documents. And sometimes people look at this and they're like, oh, what do I do now? I'm not quite sure. Well, here's the thing. All realtors just want to get to the bottom line. They all want to get into the sauce and the meat of things. And so please just take a moment and jump over to the details section and add as much information as you can that needs to auto-populate to all the fields in your documents, okay? So hop on over to the details and click that, and you'll see it just pulled over the name of the opportunity, and it has my seller in here with his previous information. That all populated over from Command, okay? Now, in order to edit the information, I need to click the blue button, and it's on the right-hand side of the screen. So it may be hiding underneath all of our pictures. So the blue button says Edit. When you edit, the middle of the page will show you all of the property details, okay? The right-hand side is all of the people that are involved in the transaction, okay? You can go through and select all the information that you need. You don't need to have the origin of the lead. That detail doesn't really populate into over into Command. So you just need the address of the property. Okay, you see I've done this one before. Flemington, County Hunterdon. Oops. And state, New Jersey. Oh, where did we go? There we go. Postal code 08822. Okay, and you can put listing date in here. Let's say today, expiration date. Let's say November, and then original listing amount. I'm just putting 500,000. All right. Offer details we don't need because we're only listing the property right now. So I'm going to hop on over to the right side of the screen and look at the seller. So I have seller 1 in here, and his email address is here. Something that I learned, just a little tip, you can collapse and expand this field, and I like to collapse it because I hate scrolling down all the time. So I'm going to collapse that field. I don't have a seller number 2. That would be like a husband, wife, or business partners, or whatever who is on the deed. Now I'm going to listing agent 1, and you see that it populates my name in here. And I'm going to put in here an LA, and I'll show you why later on. Okay, it populated my business phone. Let me put my cell phone in here. Okay, my email address, my company, the address of my company. It doesn't populate the whole address for some reason, and we're hoping to get that fixed. Country, US, and then you can put the state in here. And it does this weird thing right now with zip codes. So that's listing agent 1, and over here is listing agent 2. And I know some of you are joining us from Pennsylvania, and what I learned about our listing agreement here in New Jersey in the Monmouth Ocean MLS, we need to have the broker sign as well as the listing agent. So our broker in the West Monmouth office is Sally Pietricatella. In Central, it's Nancy Coviello. Over in Spring Lake, it's Patty Canzos. Adele DeMoro is signing documents for a few of our offices. So just make sure you know who is signing as the listing broker for your office. And in the system of Docusign, they have deemed the listing broker's signature space on the document as listing agent 2. So they took that and posted it in listing agent 2. So you want to change Sally, Pietracatella, and you want to put her email address in here. Okay, and this is, and because on Sally's signature line, we only need her signature. We don't need the entire business address. All we need to do is click the save button. Okay. Now, Rhonda, I just wanted to ask if there were any questions about this page before I move off of it.
There's a question, who is signing for Monmouth Ocean?
I believe it's Gloria, if I'm not mistaken. And Frank, do you remember if Gloria is signing at Monmouth Ocean? I know you're not over there anymore, but.
No, she's not. It's probably going to be Lisa.
Lisa. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Lisa. Yes, of course. Good. So just save the button. Any other questions?
Who is signing for East?
I believe it's Adele.
Okay. If we went back to contacts, and you said that before it could populate on this side of seller or listing person, the seller 1, if we go to the search button, it should populate because we added the address and command. Let me rephrase it.
Yeah, because there's several different places that I'm thinking.
So the first thing we have to do is add a contact to command.
Correct.
Once it's in command, when we get into this transaction area, and we're creating it, if we put, let's say, the name of seller 1, and we start with Dawn, and Dawn was already in contacts at command, it should auto-populate.
It'll populate some of the fields. It doesn't populate everything, like the entire address, but it will populate their name, email address, and phone number, and some of their address. It's not perfect yet. Just bear with it. Okay? So when you get over to Docusign, you just need to make sure you click the details. And before I go off the details page, any other questions?
No, not that I see.
Awesome. Okay. So now that you have,
what is this? Can we permanently put out our information in for auto-populate?
that is something that's in process for an update. Put into the preferences all of your information that you can, and that should auto-populate at least the address of the office and the office name, your email address, your phone number, those things. So your preferences are over underneath your the two initials on the top right-hand side. And always, I just want to make mention, always make sure that you have the KW logo on your Docusign, and then you'll know that you're in the right place, because Docusign has two versions. They have a realtor version for everybody, but they have a KW version that's connected to Command. Okay? So, all right, I'm going to hop on over to the document section. Now, we are preparing our listing documents, and I'm going to show you how to add. There's an add button, and we're going to add from Docusign. And you see that there's places that you can pick from. You can add documents from your computer, from zip forms, from Google Drive, all of those. But this is a Docusign class, so we're going to stick to Docusign. So it has two things. You can use the library. The library has every single document that you could possibly ever need. All of the associations, and those of you in New Jersey, you know that we have like 9 different MLS systems. We have the New Jersey Association documents, and we have our separate custom forms for each one of our offices. So you will have all of those in the library. What we did at our market centers is we narrowed that down for you, and we created some form groups. The form groups are just like in .loop, where you were accustomed to grabbing just the template. So we created these groups for you if you're working with a seller, working with a buyer, a landlord, or a tenant. And then we've also separated documents for just addendums. For New Jersey has like 50 addendums, so we've separated that too. You can choose either the library or the group, whichever is more convenient for you. If you choose the group, then go down here and select which group you want. Now, on my list, I have several groups because I'm attached to several market centers. If you're in, let's say, West Monmouth, you're going to have 5 groups to choose from, okay? And similar with East Monmouth, and I'm pretty sure with Monmouth Ocean, and I have to double check with our friends down in Ocean Living. So here you have a listing for sale, and you represent the seller. That's the one that I want, because I know those are the documents that I need for this listing. All right, it's telling me I have all of these documents in here. I can select all of them, or I can uncheck a couple. We included, for those of you in West Monmouth, we've included the Central Jersey MLS listing agreement as well, because many of you use that consistently. We have our office forms as well as the New Jersey forms. So I have 11 selected. And remember, if you open this up and you can't see the association forms from NJAR or the MLS, make sure that you go back and put your NERDS number into your preferences. Okay? That's been a question that I get often. Just click the add button, and now it will populate and put all of those documents into the envelope here. I'm sorry, not the envelope. This is just the room, okay? You see the documents. There's two actions you can take. Either you can click into the document, or you can click this little round circle, and then it will give you other actions to take. So if you click that circle, a toolbar shows up here, and we'll work on that in just a little while. All right, let me uncheck that. And I am going to show you our exclusive right to sell agreement. That's our listing agreement for Monmouth Ocean MLS. And when I click in it, you'll see the document shows up, and it's pulling the details that I gave the room just a little earlier, and it's going to lay that information onto all the fields on the document. It's just populating. I see a couple of questions while this is populating. Is there anything I can answer?
All right, so there's a question that says Monmouth Ocean Groups does not show all that is required.
Okay.
Is that, that's a statement, I guess, not a question. Yes, I'm sorry.
Who was asking?
John Mika said to everyone, Monmouth Ocean Groups do not show all required.
Okay, and John's one of our tech ambassadors, and John, thanks for bringing that up. let's talk about that later. You and I need to work with Lisa, and we'll get the required documents into groups for that office, okay?
Okay, another
Okay,
question
sounds
is,
good. Thanks.
so existing docs in .loop don't get transferred over, right? With a question mark. You just get a link to it.
So here's a question I get often. Do we need to bring our .loop docs into Docusign? It's
Yeah.
not a black and white answer.
Right.
It all depends on where the transaction is and what's happening to it. If you need to have something signed, yeah, bring that document over to Docusign, and you can email it in. I'll show you that later. You can email a document. It all depends if you need to have anything signed. Remember, Docusign is only to use for signing purposes. The documents need to go to command for compliance. So if you have things in .loop for compliance, get them into command. Okay. Remember, .loop and Docusign are simply electronic signature platforms. We customarily have used .loop as an all-in-one system for compliance. That's the big difference. Okay.
I'm slightly confused.
Okay.
Because right now we're adding all documents that we need, not into command, but we're putting it into Docusign.
Well, right now we have to fill a document and get it signed. Right now we're in the process of, in our screen, in our class right now,
Yes.
where we are right now is filling the documents.
Correct.
And preparing them for a signature.
Okay.
Once they're all signed, everything's fully executed. That's when we upload it into command.
Okay.
Okay.
There's another question. Thank you for answering that.
Mm-hmm.
Can you delete a document after you add it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a lot of functions to this. Yeah.
Can we do what you were showing us in a test version and then delete afterwards? So I guess the answer is yes.
The same thing with .loop and command. There's an archive. There's you don't delete a whole lot of things, especially rooms. You can delete documents that aren't signed. If they're not signed, you can delete them. You can archive or you can put them out of your view. It won't hurt anything if you're testing it out and you use another agent and you guys do samples. I encourage it. Have a buddy in your office or maybe a family member that you could sit there next to each other and you can go through the document and send it to them and have them open it up on a device, either iPad, phone, or desktop, and you can go back and forth. I encourage you guys to sample and try it. Okay. I hope that answered the question.
I don't see, I have two more that are on here. How do you add your NERDS number to the profile?
Okay, remind me at the end, Rhonda. I'm going to show them how to do that. Okay, what was the other one?
What happens to previously signed documents in the loop?
In loops. Well, you can pull them over to command if they're already signed. There's no need to go through Docusign.
And you also said that even though we're switching to Docusign, we will be able to access any of our loops in .loop.
Yes. Yes.
Indefinitely.
You will be. Yes. I have spoken to the representative from .loop myself.
Okay.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So let's get back to we're creating this contract.
Muting myself.
Thanks. Now you're just going to look at the document. Clearly, it has fields that need to be filled in, right? So the fillable, it's very simple. I don't know what day is today. 21st day of May till the 29th day of November. You see, it's just easy to fill. One thing I always like to show people is that these are radio buttons, which is different than a checkbox. The radio button is set up so you can click one or the other. Okay, this is a one or the other. Checkboxes are you can check everything that you need to. So in this particular document, these are the radio buttons. And I like to tell people about this because when you're working on a lead paint disclosure that you've received from another agent, and it is now in a PDF version. You upload it, you can add the radio buttons later, and I'll show you that in a little bit. Okay. Now you see my name shows up over here, and then when I need to have this signed, we're going to do that in another screen. But you notice that the signature areas are not open like you're used to in .loop. Okay. Many of you have called me and said, I can't get the signatures in here. And I get that. I had the same reaction. All you need to do is just hold on. We're going to get to another screen. This right here is only for you to enter the data that you need on your document. All right. And once you enter all that, say chandelier included, whatever the case may be, and then you save and close. Okay. So that's how you fill the document. All right. And I'll just go back to that screen and show you how I got there. All right. This is all I did was I clicked on the document itself. Okay. Now let's say that I've filled in all the documents that I need, and I'm going to send them out for signatures. The way that you do that is you click the little circle on the top left corner of the documents that you want to include for signatures. And just a side note, I've noticed that sometimes when we add all of the documents, the signature places get a little confusing, and the agent gets confused and the seller gets confused. So here's my tip. The listing agreement is the most important agreement because that's the one you have to get that signed before you do anything. So just a tip, send the listing agreement out by itself. And then in another envelope or email, send the supporting documents. Okay? So you click that button and go to the toolbar that just showed up. And then you click this, it's called Docusign, and that's how you're going to edit the document for signatures. Okay. I saw there were a couple of comments that came up. Rhonda, are you there to let me know if there's any questions?
Yes, I'm here. Okay, so the question, this is from Katie Shelburne to everyone. Many of our agents could not get their Docusign set up with an email they had used with Docusign prior to its integration with Command. We have been advised to have them make a new email because success rate to fix this is low. Is that your recommendation?
Yeah, that's the experience I'm seeing. The challenge is when agents have been using it at a high level with a different, either a basic account, or they had an account, they happened to make an account with their KW address. We are seeing some issues, and number one, you can try Scott Leroy Marketing. They've been really great trying to help us get that straightened out. The other way to do it is if Scott Leroy cannot help you get that account straightened out, then go to support@kw.com. Okay, so let's go back over to the screen.
There's one more question.
Oh, all right, go ahead.
Is there a sign now option like Loop for owner agent?
Well, it's interesting, and I think Sherry asked me that the other day, and it may be coming from her again. Literally, it's embedded into the system. It's not a separate signing option. Literally, you could send it to their email, and they can open it up in front of you on their phone. You know, 95% of the people have a phone. They can receive it in their email and sign it right in front of you. Okay, so the option that we had in .loop was kind of, I'm filling it in on the laptop at the listing table, and I turn my laptop around and let them sign it. It works differently, so it has to have an email address attached so that it goes out with a verification code. Okay, literally they can receive it on their phone right in front of you, or you can have them log into their email on your desktop or laptop in person. Okay, very simple. The envelope is something that you haven't seen in .loop. However, it's just like an email. the envelope name is the way that you can organize your envelopes inside your DocuSign room. So I'm going to call this listing. How about I type right? Agreement, training, May 21. Is it 21? 22. Goodness gracious. Okay. The name doesn't matter to anybody else but you. Okay. If you forgot to add documents to this envelope, you could simply go to Room Docs and get more. Okay. The recipients is important. Adding the recipient in the pre-tagged roles will tell the system where to place the signatures on the documents. Okay, so you won't have to lay the fields down. So click the pre-tagged roles, and it's pulling up every document that's in your envelope and the name of the signature line below it. Okay, so in this case, seller 1. Click that and choose seller 1, which is Greg Wagner. Listing broker, and if you remember, in West Monmouth, listing broker was Sally Picciatella. Okay? In listing agent, which is you, remember when I placed that LA next to my name? Because our names show up twice. I'm not sure why. I'm just working with it. So I know that I put this in the placeholder when I entered the details. So I know that that's my pre-tagged role. All right. Another side note, when filling out the seller's disclosure, we know that the seller needs to fill that out, and it's a long document in New Jersey. What I've learned is that the one person who is designated in the system to fill that out is seller number 1. So when you're setting this up, you might want to think about which one of the two parties is most likely going to fill out that seller's disclosure and put them in the place of seller number 1. Okay? So now that we have the roles tagged, we're going to add selected. And you'll notice that these 3 all have a number next to it, 111. That means that all 3 of those people can sign at the same time. Okay. Now in New Jersey, we know that the broker should not sign a document until the seller and the agent sign. So I'm just going to pop my cursor in here and make this a number 2. Okay. That just means that Sally's going to be the last person to sign it. All right. If all else fails, you can leave them all as 1s, and Sally will not sign until the seller signs it. And I just know that that's the way that Sally works, and most of your brokers should be the same way. All right. Down here on the bottom, this is how you create an email. You're going to add a subject. You guys you've sent emails before, so you just add a subject and you say listing documents. Okay, and then add a message, say, please review and sign where indicated. Okay, you just created an email. Now, if you cannot see the top right-hand corner of your screen, there is a yellow button that says next. This is the button that you'll choose when going to the next screen. Okay, so I'm going to click that now. Go to the next screen. Now what this is going to do is open up the document. You're going to see the document in the middle of the screen. All of the details that you've previously added to the screen, to the fields. On the left side, it'll tell you who is in the document, so you can look at the left side, and every person in the document has a different color. Docusign just auto-populates a different color so that when you're looking at the document, you can see who's going to be signing. On the right-hand side of the screen, again, it might be hiding. On the right-hand side of the screen, it'll show you all the documents that are in that envelope, and it'll show you all the identities of the people that are going to sign based on their colors. Okay? So if you just look at the document on the screen, You eyeball it and say, I have filled in everything that I needed to fill in. And I see that all of the signatures are placed in the right places. And then all I need to do is send it on. That's all I would need to do. Okay. There's a lot of other features in here, but before I go to the other features, are there any questions up till now? Let's see.
And I'm
Frank,
mute. I'm
you're-
sorry.
Okay, go ahead, Rhonda.
I apologize. Can you edit this doc on the screen?
Yeah. You can put text boxes on here, like see, these aren't filled in. And you may, I don't know if you feel the same way I do, the quality of this particular document is very low. This is the document that the MLS has provided directly to Docusign. It's not going to get any better. I don't really like the quality of this document. All the other documents that come from the associations are in much better shape. So let me just show you what you do. You're going to choose the person that is changing the text on this. So I, as the listing agent, I'm in yellow, and I just click myself. And then if I want to add a text box, I click and drag the text box over. Okay. And then on the right-hand side, I can fill in the text. Okay. Once I do that, if I wanted to add, let's say, a radio button, remember I told you about radio buttons, I can click and drag the radio buttons over, just like I might need in lead paint, and I can move them around. I can add to it. Okay, I can move them anywhere I want, and then the client just clicks one or the other. If I didn't like that there, I can move it, but I can move them all around. But in the end, if I say, I don't really need this anymore, I right click and I delete. Okay, right click and delete. And that's how you can edit this. If you've really messed up and what I'm doing now doesn't fix it, then you can go back on the bottom right-hand corner. There's a back button, and you can go back out, fix the document, and then come back to the envelope. Okay, I hope that answered the question.
There's another question.
Okay.
Can you go over the aspect of one person not signing the document and both signatures not showing because of that?
Yeah, write that down for me, because I'll have to show you that in an envelope. If one person doesn't sign, the document is not fully executed. And I'll show you where that shows up in an envelope. Okay.
Okay, that's it for now.
Okay, so let me show you one other.
I'm muting.
Okay, I'll show you one other feature. If you would like to see what the client sees so that you can kind of coach them through signing the document, there's a recipient preview button. It's on the top right-hand side, and it's in a black and white box. Click the recipient preview, and now you can see what everyone else will see when they receive that document. Okay, I've had clients call me up. They're like, I don't know what I'm doing. Up here in the middle, you can see the preview on a computer monitor on a desktop, or you can click an iPad or tablet version, and then you can click the phone version. Okay. The other thing you can do is look at it from Dawn's perspective, from Greg's perspective. It takes a second. Or I can look at it from Sally's perspective. Okay. So if Greg were to see this, I'm just going to click the start button. This is what Greg would see when he starts signing. Click start, click required, and then on their screen, the finish button would show up. You see it just says signature because I'm not signing for Greg. Okay. And that's what the client would see. Make sure that they always click the finish button so that it completes the process. All right. I happen to like that feature. I think that's great for you to work with the client. Now, I'm not going to send this out and send this over to Greg and Sally because this is not an active listing contract. Okay. So what I'll do is let me go back. There was a question around having one person sign and the others have not signed. You would see that in an envelope. In the envelope, it'll tell you how many people are in the envelope and how many documents are in the envelope. Okay. I can hop over to another room and show you what that looks like. Okay, let me see this one. I've done a lot of training in here, so I'll show you what that looks like. All right, you see it says needs my signature, and these are all drafts that I had. So if I go in here, and it tells me seller 1 has signed it, listing broker has signed it, and myself as a listing agent still needs to sign. I hope that answered the question that came up. Okay, so if I needed to sign that, I can just click sign and go ahead and sign that now. All right. So it's about
There's a
7.
question.
Yeah, go ahead, Rhonda.
Are we signing as listing agent and witness?
No, here we've recently had a big question about this, and I've talked to the team leaders and brokers in our offices. Because we're sending these out in electronic format, we are not sitting at the kitchen table with the client. We're not seeing them sign the documents. The Docusign is verifying their signature. So we've discussed our method would be, don't put your name in there as the witness. We are signing as the listing agent, the broker is signing as the broker, and the seller is signing as the seller. The space for witness is a typing space. You type the name, your name as the agent. So technically you're not witnessing their signature unless you're sitting in front of them watching them do that. It's an interesting question. We've had a lot of conversation around that recently. Okay. Any other question? Because I wanted to get a couple more things in before the end of the class. And Rhonda, I think you wrote down a couple of questions that came up during the way.
Well, you just went over, can we go over what happens when one person does not sign? So you just did that.
Yep.
And the other question was entering the NERD's number.
Okay. So let's enter the NERD's number. Over in the top right-hand corner, remember, if you can't see it, it's because of the little pictures, and you can move those Zoom pictures around your screen. Go to Preferences. Okay. Preferences will open up, and this is your contact information and all that kind of stuff. So make sure that that's all accurate. But Integrations is the place where you're going to find the NERD's number. Right in the middle of the page is your NERD's ID. And for those of us in the New Jersey offices, make sure that you choose New Jersey Association of Realtors out of there's big, long list of associations, which is all over the country. So you just need to go find it in there. That's a key element into your Docusign. Otherwise, you won't get the correct documents in your system. Okay. There were a couple of things I wanted to show you in here, unless there's more questions. And the one thing that I have to show you before we go is how do you get your documents over to Command, right? So I'll show you two things.
One quick question though from someone.
Okay.
It says, what happens if the client wants to print out the document to sign and returns it as paper? There's a few questions after that as well.
Yeah, they can do that. You would just, and here's how you get it to your system. So every Docusign, everyone who has a Docusign account has their own unique email address, okay? So I just opened up the inbox. The inbox is in the top middle of the page, and you can see your own unique email address for Docusign, okay? So along with your unique email address, each room has its own unique ID. So if you go over to your rooms, this one was today. I'm going to find the unique email ID, which in this case is 346607. Gosh, there's too many sixes in there. And you see it says copy and paste as room ID number into your email subject. So I'll show you how to do that quickly. If your client or your attorneys or your other agents send you documents, that are in PDF format or any other format, you can forward them into your room. So here's how you do it. You copy that number, go over to your email. Okay, can you see my email? We got way too many things in here. Here's a PDF. Okay. Oh, that's not PDF. That's a video. I got to find one with a PDF. Here we go. So you take one that has a PDF attached to it. You click the forward button. Once you click forward, you're going to enter your Docusign email. I've done this several times, so it's saved my email in my contact record. So I'm going to choose my Docusign email, click this little down arrow, and change the subject. Now this is in Gmail and your KW Gmail accounts. All right. I'm going to change the subject and paste that little tiny number in the subject line. And what's that doing is it's emailing it to Docusign, and then it says, go to that room. Okay, so I'm going to hit the button and say, go to your room. And I'm going to hop on over to Docusign, and I'm going to find it in here in just a moment. Okay, so that's if you get a listing, a lead paint disclosure, or a seller's disclosure, that you receive it as the buyer agent and you have to have your buyer sign it. Any of those things. Let's see, did it come in yet? And you'll notice when a PDF comes in, it'll show up with a different tag to it. So on all of these forms, there's a blue form button. When you see a PDF, it's going to be red. It didn't come in yet. Here's the cool thing about Docusign that's different than Dotloop. In the Docusign rooms, you can add pictures like photos of checks. You can add Word documents. You can add PDFs. So it's a lot more versatile than the Dotloop system was. Okay. Let me just try this one more time and I'll see if it popped in yet as a PDF. Here we go. There's my PDFs. There's the JPEG. See, there's a picture attached to that too. So you can see the picture. That's how you get your documents over to Docusign Room. Now, I do need to show you how you get them into your command for compliance, right? So your office still needs to see all of your final documents. So what you do is go over to command, and because you connected this earlier on, all you need to do is add the file. There's two ways to do it. You can add one at a time, or you can attach multiple files. And if you're like me, I want to get it done quick. So you attach multiple files, choose Docusign. That's where all of your files are because you just had them all signed and they're all fully executed. And you're going to choose the ones that these are, these match. Okay, you're going to find the matching documents and move them over. Where's wire fraud and the CIS? So you get the idea, right? Dual agency. I've clicked the wrong ones. I just wanted to show you how that goes in there. Okay, so click them all, and then when you're done clicking them all, just hit the attach button, and they'll populate into your command opportunity. They're all right there, and you just click the submit to MC button, and you're done.
Okay, these questions.
Okay, so go ahead. It's 11 o'clock, so I'll take some questions.
All right. After listing is accepted and we get a contract, how do we get it into commands? I think you just.
That's what just did. Yep, that's exactly it.
Depending on your settings, sometimes it's not your initial. It could be your picture.
Are we talking about Docusign?
I'm not sure. B asked that question. And another question was, do you need, B, if you can just write it back on the chat box, I'll try to clarify it. The next question is, do you need the number, I guess the hashtag before the number for the ID?
That's the way I've been doing it. I believe so.
With the hashtag and then the number.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question is, I must have missed something. Where can we find our Docusign email?
Okay, let me pop over to Docusign in the inbox. There's an email right at the top. That's your unique email ID for Docusign. And also you can choose to request a fax number if you'd like. That's for free too.
Okay.
I had to fax tax documents, so I used it.
Next question is, what if contract comes in from another agent in .loop?
In .loop.
That's what it says. What if a contract comes in? So what if let's say another agent is using .loop and they send you the contract in .loop and we're not active in .loop anymore?
Well, they should be sending it to you as you are requesting it. So if you're saying, please send me a contract via my email. All
Okay,
right. I mean,
that's my
yeah,
question.
and it's interesting, Vonda, that I noticed a year ago, I had a property that had multiple offers, and most of the time the agents were communicating with me. And those agents, I said, here, email me the contract. And then I go into my .loop, and then all of a sudden I see all these other offers, and I was really confused. So like those agents didn't even call me. They didn't say anything. And if you're just submitting an offer through .loop just because it's there and not having a conversation with an agent, then you're less likely to have it accepted. So make sure that you're talking to the agents that have shown your property, and telling them to submit the offer to you as you see fit, right? You're the listing agent.
Dawn,
Yes.
I had exactly the same situation. Somebody sent it to me, not even .loop, a whole
Yeah.
complete. I mean, you can print it out and then put it in DocuSign.
No printing. No printing. We email in. No printing. Email
Well,
it to Docusign.
Okay, or you can email it to
Yeah.
DocuSign.
Yeah. No need to print.
Yeah, so as long as you know you're getting an email,
Yeah.
whether it's .loop or whatever sign, there's one with a little
Yeah.
yellow key. You can email it to DocuSign.
Yes, you can. Okay,
You're
and then
I really have to learn this stuff.
you're doing good.
Is that the same as like copy, like when we used to add a document to .loop, we would hit, how are we adding the document? So now we're adding it strictly through email with the ID of the room?
Well, that's if you're getting an email with PDFs. Yeah.
But what if I like to upload the MLS, let's say the MLS that we have to have in our folder?
Yeah.
And so you would email it to the room?
No. There's a couple different ways, and that's probably a good thing that you asked that question, because I'll show you how to add documents to the room through your computer. Okay, so the add button is over here. Now, strictly, we really were showing you how to do the document in Docusign. This is how you can add it from your computer, from zip forms, if you wanted to connect your zip forms in there, or Box, Dropbox, Google Drive. So let's go to my computer. And I'm going to find, a PDF of something. All right. And I'm just going to add that document to the room.
Okay.
Not quite sure where it went. On the bottom. Okay. So here's that document, command from contract to close. This is actually the PDF of my class. Okay.
Great.
So literally, if I wanted to take that document and I wanted to lay some signatures on there, I just click the little circle, go to the pen, choose
The recipients.
Yep, choose a room recipient. Okay, let's say I want Greg to sign it somewhere. Go to the next button. All right, it's going to open it up in that screen that's divided in 3. And I'm going to tell that I want Greg to sign it here, and I want him to initial it over here. All right, boom, done. All I need to do is send.
Okay,
Fast,
you do
right?
a couple more questions.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's fast when you know what you're doing. There's a couple of more questions.
Okay.
Someone said there needs to be a class on its own, moving documents. That was a comment. The next question for the nerd ID setting. Initial next to KW could be a picture depending on your setting. That's what B asked before.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me close this. Yeah, it can be a picture. Actually, I have my picture in my profile, but it's not this is not something that's going to make or break your DocuSign experience.
Okay, and there's one more question. Listing is accepted by the MC, get contract in Docusign. Now we have to add to command. Where is that? That's with the go to sync transaction, correct?
That's here. So you add a file one at a time. Okay, and you can add it from your computer, or you can
Or
add it
from
from
DocuSign.
DocuSign. Yep.
Right.
If I added it manually, I would just go to my computer, drag and drop files, and then I just find a document and assign it. Now it just went in there. So that's how you get it in. Okay, so if you had the MLS printout, you saved it on your computer, uploaded it here.
Dawn, that wasn't my question. What I meant was, it's Mary. What
Hi.
I meant is, hi, so I've got a listing, I've got a contract now, a buyer came in with a contract. Now, when I go back to put it into my documents have already been sent to the MC. So is there a place where it says buyer, the contract?
Yep. So here's the difference. When you have a listing, you have a listing folder on the left-hand side here.
Right.
Then you have a whole folder for under contract documents. So this is where your under contract printout, the CIS, the buyer, the hold harmless, okay, the opinion joint and fully executed contract. All of these placeholders are here in the under contract file. Do you see that? So this is listing and this is under contract. Okay. So that was the difference. You just add the multiple files as they come in. You can add them individually. Okay, hopefully, Mary, that answered your question. All right, I hear the birds somewhere. That sounds pretty. That sounds pretty. So,
Is the class guide you just showed available on the family Facebook page?
the which?
The class guide that you just showed. I guess that was one of the documents you opened up before.
I don't think that's on the family page, although I've created it differently, and I did put PDFs on there, which look more like a PowerPoint class. Yeah, so I changed it up so that it made more sense, more simplified.
Okay.
All right.
That's all I see.
All right.
Okay,
So
Dawn, I got frozen for a while, so I didn't hear the answer to my question. So I understand I could just put it under contract. Now, what happens with all the attorneys? We wanna leave all our attorneys letters also. Where do we put under? We create a new folder?
if you feel the need to keep all of the attorney letters, and that's okay, and you can create a new custom folder on the bottom left.
Okay.
You create that, you can name it attorney letters or supporting documents and create folder. And once you create that folder, then you add a document here.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So there's a lot of other features in here, and when you start adding them for compliance, you'll see whether your compliance department has approved or not approved the contracts, and the comments will go back and forth. I'll show you what that looks like if you wanted to hold on for just a moment. Go here and go to one of our previous ones that we use for training. You'll see in this area where we have approved documents, we've had missing documents, and we've rejected certain documents. Along with the rejection, our compliance officer is Hope, and she will tell you why she rejects a document. In this particular case, it says needs seller's signature. Okay, up here, it says that you've changed documents, and here's a comment box that you can talk to Beth and Hope, and all you do is go in there and you can type a comment in there. If you want it to go to one specific person, I can choose who it will go to, and I can say, hey, Beth, I fixed the documents. Okay, and then I just hit reply, and now Beth is going to see a notification up here in her command system when there's comments that go back and forth. Okay, I do see I still have 40 of you here. You've been holding on to the class. We're now an hour and 15 minutes. I hope I've answered a lot of your questions. So those of you that are on our KW family page, I posted videos of previous classes. I posted 2 videos that are really short. One is contact to close, which is how to work the command system and the process of the opportunity. And then the other one is a 15-minute video on Docusign. Yesterday I posted one about PDFs, like how to get a PDF out of .loop and put it into command. So I hope this is helpful. And does anybody have any other questions?
Help! Why did we do this?
No, thank you, Dawn.
What did you just say? Why did we do this? I will
No,
tell
I'm
you.
quite, changing the whole system, but it gives me something to do.
Hey, listen.
Dawn, great class.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank
great
you.
class.
Thank you.
Great class, Dawn. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very much.
you. Thank you.
Bye,
Remember,
everybody.
we do not own .loop anymore at
I know,
all. We
I
never
know.
did. So that's why. And I will say, if you didn't listen to the pivot shift call from yesterday, please go in and listen to it. That is a great call. They talked about change, and
Yeah.
change is good. And if we, and something that I wanted to share with you, what sabotages our ability to reinvent ourselves is the attachment to the way things used to be.
Yes.
So be willing to grow and change and adapt and be open to the opportunity. So I'm so glad you all joined me today. I hope you got something out of this, and I appreciate you. And go forth and have a great Memorial Day
Yes,
weekend.
you
Go
too.
go
Thank
list,
you.
go list and
Thank you,
sell,
Dawn.
and you guys can
Thank
do
you very
this.
much, Dawn.
Thanks, Dawn. Have a great
Bye.
weekend, Dawn.
Love you, Dawn.
Oh,
Bye.
Jolene, I love you too. Thank you.
Great.
Take care. Enjoy your
Bye.
weekend,
Bye,
everybody. Bye-bye.
everyone.
Bye,
Have a great
everybody.
weekend.
Bye, Dawn. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you. Thank you.